Hello. Good evening to everybody joining us. We are Adventures on Tap. We're a local Orlando based group that puts together games at breweries. Um, all these games are generally focused on tabletop role playing games, mostly D&D focused. We also have a Twitch channel, which you're obviously looking at right now. uh, but the goal AOT is for us to support local, play local, and what's the other one I'm missing? Drink local. That's right, obvious one because we go to breweries. Duh. Uh, uh, but yeah, that's what we do. It's always a blast. So if you're ever in the Orlando area, please come down, hang out, have fun. Again, we always have fun doing this. We have branched out recently into the Twitch stuff, which is has been enjoyable for us that have been doing it. So thank you if you're watching it. Today we are playing the One Ring RPG from Free League Publishing. I got to plug Free League. If you've never played any of their games or bought any of their supplements, etc. The quality of these are fantastic. Today we're going to be doing the Moria Through the Doors of Durin expansion, but I mean the quality of art and the binding and everything that you get with their stuff for the price that they sell it at is just phenomenal. We played Alien earlier, and it was a lot of fun. Also, a free league game, and they have a vast collection of stuff. So I really cannot speak more highly of Free League. Um, as far as what else are the ethos of AOT, the number one thing that we pretty much everybody affiliated with the organizations is our charities. Our charities are what drive us and what really set us apart from what I think some other people in this space do. And it's what initially, when this was started, like what 2 or 3 years ago, I can't remember, was the charity focus. So as far as like drink local, play local, we give local, and we support a charity every month. So if you're in the Orlando area, you can go. We have QR codes that'll pop up on the screen. You can scan that. That'll take you to all of our links. As far as for the on-stream charity, we support Child's Play. Child's Play is a charity near and dear to a lot of our hearts. Me personally, I've been affected by it, and I've seen it work incredibly well. But they gamify recovery in a lot of ways for children across the nation. We have a local Orlando chapter, so that is what our on-stream charity is. If you feel um, if you feel inclined, fantastic. You can donate. There's donate buttons in the stream, and please do, because that all the money goes straight to that. And then as far as our on-game, on-screen stuff that you can engage and interact with is we have channel points, which you can redeem for our advantage disadvantage system. The One Ring RPG does engage in that. So it's either roles. Roles will be called favored. Players will have favored roles, but the GM or the lore master, in this case myself, can determine and give that to someone if just as your general advantage disadvantage inspiration system works. So and then last but not least are the cheers and the emotes and all that stuff. That's another way you can donate and interact with the channel. But once again, thank you for showing up and joining us. We're really excited to play the game and display it as we branch out to other systems other than D&D. We love D&D. We play it every Wednesday, but we also love to support other um, TTRPGs. So yeah, as far as introductions, Garrett, I guess we'll just go in my order, which we'll start with Jackson, and then you'll just introduce yourself briefly and tell us your name. And for some of you who don't know what you're playing yet, if you do know what you're playing, you can say that, but go ahead.
Muted.
Happens all the time.
Jackson, you're muted.
Hello, can you hear me? I clicked the unmute button. I call shenanigans. Well, anyway, my name is Jackson. I'm one of the speakers for AOT. What that means is I help out with the community a lot and I do a lot of things that need to be done. I haven't played this game before, and I haven't made a character either, which some people don't like. But we're all gonna make it together, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Tonight I am drinking Aldi beer because I couldn't make it to a craft beer store in time, but I got a big enough stein. I'm hoping that makes up for it.
Well, now I'm just curious of what beer.
Yeah, is it just an Aldi's label?
No. It is Shut Eye Peak Pale Ale, if you've ever heard of it. A crisp, refreshing IPA.
And the crack to go with it.
There it is.
Fantastic. I'm gonna have to go get my stein out now. Now that this has become a contest. All right. Next up is KP.
Hi all, I'm KP. I will be playing a Ranger of the North named Garethon today, and I am drinking a gift beer from the holiday season, Shiner Holiday Cheer. So shout out to Pat for buying me this, and in my Green Dragon mug.
All right, Ashley.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I will be playing an elf of Rivendell named Kamanil. And for all my non-drinkers out there, shout outs to you. I have a delicious vanilla Coke in my cup here of choice. And it may be substituted with some tea. We'll see what happens during the show today.
See how crazy it gets.
Yes, exactly. See how I have to remain awake. Yeah, but that is that. I'm excited to play. This is my first time playing a different system than D&D. And so I'm super duper excited to be in this new world.
Wonderful. Well, we're excited to have you. Garrett.
Hello, I am Garrett. I'm sure you recognize me, Joe, and Ferg from the normal Wednesday streams, and dotted among all the other D&D streams that we do, or Lance, or whatever the other systems we've done. But today, I am playing a Hobbit captain named Gudolfo Pat, and I am drinking something I found at a local place here, and it's called Robonaut Red Ale. It is from Playa Linda Brewing Company in Titusville. So it's got a little robot on there. Oh, I guess that's the ship. Hold on, there's a robot here. There he is. And it says on the side, humanoid tested and approved. So good news. I think I'll be all right.
All right, Joe.
Hey everyone, my name is Joe. I'm also a speaker with Jackson with AOT, and do our weekly Wednesday games of Phandelver and Below D&D 5e. Tonight I am playing Borin, a dwarf, dwarf of Durin's folk, and I am drinking the Earth Brewery H2O, so water in my mug.
Water. Okay. I forgot to mention stream favorite in case anyone's coming back. A little Orange Crush Hidden Springs Ale Works over in Tampa area. It's the go-to.
You're steadily keeping them afloat.
Oh,
hey man. Hey, we support local. We
absolutely.
local.
Hey, real quick. When we were starting the intro, Gideon resubbed for 4 months. So here's a little cheers to Gideon. Sir.
Gideon, always the man. Yeah. All right. So we'll go. Sorry, cut out. We'll go ahead and start with the character creation process. We're going to do a quick session 0. We'll run through it. For those of you who have already made your characters, this will be a review, or you can follow along and add anything that hasn't been done yet. And also remind me if I forget something, because that's also a possibility during this. And yeah, and after that, we'll jump straight into the game. But again, the One Ring, for just a quick primer, the One Ring RPG is set in the period of after The Hobbit and before the Lord of the Rings films. So I think even specifically, it's when Bilbo arrives back in the Shire from the Lonely Mountain and the Battle of the Five Armies to to his birthday party in the Shire. So that is this span, and what it does is it aims to give you, and what it does it does really well in the books is, while everybody, I mean, if you can only imagine the rules lawyering that happens in D&D, I can't even imagine what it would be like playing with like some Tolkien, just like it would have to be out of this world, like someone like hitting
Stephen
you
Colbert.
and correcting you with like, I mean, yeah, like it's like, all right, like so what it does is that this gives you the liberty to explore this time period, since it's not really touched on outside of a few key main events, which they provide a timeline. But its general idea is that Bilbo has returned. The story of that has spread throughout Eriador, and it has inspired other people for various reasons to undertake similar, maybe not as famous endeavors of their own, because there are many treasures and fame to go around following this. And inversely, that while this is happening, the threat of darkness has undeniably returned, and so that's kind of like the looming shadow that's always present, and it has those game mechanics built in. But yeah, should be a fun time. So if anybody enjoys, like, I mean, I don't know about you all, but like my comfort movie or like downtime is, popping on the extended versions and vegetating over the holiday breaks.
Con Air.
That's a great one. I respect that. That's a good one. How about the Rock, maybe?
The Rock, Con Air, and Armageddon are my three that I circulate through.
Perfect.
That and Black Hawk Down, that one too.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna share my screen. What you'll see is a character sheet, and we're gonna fill it in as we go. And I will try to swap back and forth between some of the handouts. But I'm gonna fill in a character sheet that is separate of what like Jackson is going to fill in. So you'll see me, and I'll kind of go along and fill it in as we go in the same manner that you would build a character. All right. But so
bear with me, stream. I am setting this up right now. I didn't know this was what we were doing. So give me 1 second. But they'll see it in a minute. So if you just want to talk through it, we'll get it.
Yeah. I will say this. So when you open up the books, you will go to the character page, and it'll start you at your culture. So Jackson, in your case, you'll start off with the culture that you've chosen. For my character that I'm going to be building right here, I'm going to choose another dwarf. Just go ahead and give me one moment.
So if anyone, you know what, let's show it. We'll play the fun game. Oh, come on. I clicked. Oh, transition. That's the right button. All right. So right now, what you can see here is I am adjusting the window to fit inside. This is slowly and surely becoming a OBS tutorial. Oh, and you can't see it moving because I'm doing it on a different layer. Isn't that fancy? Let me just center it. And we'll just
Good old studio mode.
yeah, right. All right, good enough. I think my standards are higher than this. All right, good enough. As long as you guys can see it, should be good. So what we're looking at here is our character sheet. Let me reference mine, and I can at least talk us through what we're looking at here. So under culture is where we all selected where we're from. So me being a hobbit, I'm a hobbit of the Shire. And then cultural blessing is a certain aspect you have to yourself based on where you're from. So mine is hobbit sense. Don't know what that means, but hey, it's a thing. And then calling is like class. And
All
then,
right. Sorry about that.
no, you are good, man. You
Okay.
take over because you know more about what's happening.
I just want to, yeah, sorry. I had child aggro that I had to deal with, so need to get him to bed. It's usually all right because I'm playing, and I can give him attention and not devolve from the stream. All right. But anyway, you will go to your heroic culture. So for Jackson, you're choosing Nelf. For the character that you see on screen, I'm going to be choosing a dwarf of Durin's folk. So you would just write that in on your character sheet up here. So
Elf. Got it.
all right. And then next up on the list, you will then go to the cultural blessing. And you will type that in or write it down on your sheet wherever you. So for the dwarf, it's redoubtable. And when you're playing a game, obviously you'll have to refer to that. But this makes dwarves able to carry things more than their endurance rating. And we'll say that next you will add in your standard of living. And for the dwarf, that is prosperous.
What should I put in for my cultural blessing?
You should be able to choose it. If you go on the alchemy
Okay, I'll do it
on the
then.
handouts, and then just click on the High Elves of Rivendell sheet.
Mhm.
That will give you the cultural blessing choices. All right. All right. Next up, we go to. Hold on. Let me pull this up real quick on my computer. Lost my spot. And right there we go. And then you add your cultural flaw, which will go down in that box. And the cultural flaw for dwarves is Nagrim, which is oh wait. No, that's not a cultural flaw, that's a blessing. We'll just skip that for right now because it's not important. After we go to that, you do standard living, which I already threw it in, and then this is where on the next page you'll distribute your skills. So if you have the core rule book, you'll go down and it'll show you your skills. Let me see. If you just give me a second, I'll just pull it up on my computer. me see. Maybe I can swap through them. Let me figure out a way to do this real quick. Because I think it would be beneficial for people to see this as well, just not the character sheet.
Oh, I also want to point out, I thought I was an elf of a different lineage. I am not. I did Elf of Linden, so my apologies. As I was looking through as you were going over things, I was like, oh, that is not what I put down originally. So just wanted to clarify.
No worries. None at all. Let's see if I can copy this and throw it in here. All right. Thanks for bearing with me a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. We'll just roll through it. All right. So this is where you'll allocate your skills, and your skills are listed in. Let me check. I can do my screen and the video link, right? Not just the window. I can do the whole screen, correct? Yeah. Does this change anything for you, Garrett, if I do the whole screen instead of my tab?
So it needs to be casting into video. If it's not
Right.
going, I don't see it.
Why is it not letting me do this now?
Just give her a few.
She's on like her 7th song.
Let me see this. The site will be able to see. It's not letting me do it. Here we go. All right, now you should be able to see the characters in the book. So let me scroll up to.
Yes, I believe so.
There we go.
It's cut off, of course. So I'll fix it.
There we go. All right, so now this will be a little bit easier to understand instead of just me saying things which don't make sense. So what you'll do next is you will distribute, you will choose your attributes. And if you can see this right here, this is where this is your it says it right there, but you can either roll a d6, Jackson, or you can choose whichever one, like whichever spread of the attributes that you think best fits your character. In this case, we'll just say that my character rolled a 4, so I'll have a 6 in strength, a 4 in heart, and a 4 in wits. So I will fill that in. And that will do that. All right. And then next up, you will then go and choose your next we will do your derived stats. So this is how you'll add in the square on the diamond under rating, where you see endurance, hope, and parry. You will add your rating to the whatever listed number is. So in this case, for my dwarf, I'm going to add 6 to 22, which will give me a 28. 8 to 4, which will give me a 12, and then a wits will get me to a 14, and you'll put that respectively for endurance, hope, and your parry scores.
Those are in like the little bottom right. I thought it was the middle number, but apparently you do math, more math to get that.
Yes. And endurance works like HP. So basically, anytime you take damage, you'll reduce your endurance, and it also will affect you when you're carrying things and whatnot. So you never want your endurance to dip below your load, or that'll give you a condition like miserable weary, and that has various effects. So yes, next up we go to our skills, and this is where you'll do the most of the work. You'll add in all of these numbers to your skills. So for the sake of our game, normally you would just choose one of these red underlined skills and mark it as favored. For our game, we're just going to provide both. So if whatever character you have that has these red underlines, you'll go ahead and fill that in as favored, and you'll go forward. So where you see all, you fill in 2 little pips, athletics 1. This is for my character, and then awareness 0, etc., etc. And you would fill that all the way in on your character sheet, and those are going to be what you go to get your. You'll roll these to beat your target number. So rather in D&D, which most people are familiar with, you are attacking someone else's, like you're doing a skill save or a save, or you're doing an attribute or a check, or you're trying to hit on against someone's armor rating. In the One Ring, all of your rolls are applied to your target number, which we'll go over next. So anytime you make a roll, you don't care about what the adversary or what the opposing person is doing or monster. Your rolls are only applied to your target number. And we'll go ahead and do your target numbers. For the game, you would normally, if for like a longer campaign, you would subtract it from 20. So 20 being that, when I say subtract, you're going to start at 20, and you're going to subtract that rating score, that top diamond, and that'll give you your target number. So for my character, I would take 20 and subtract it by 6 to get a 14. So that's what you would do for a campaign. For this one shot, we'll do an 18. So you'll take that 18, subtract it from that rating, and fill in your target number. So for my character, 18 minus 6 for strength gives me a 12. 18 minus 4 for heart gives me a 14. 18 minus 4 for wits gives me a target number of 14. And again, anytime you make a skill check in this category, your dice total will roll. Your rolled total will have to beat that target number.
So for the rest of us, we did ours when we made them. We did it from what it said 20. So you want us to change them, I assume?
Yes, do it from 18.
So 18 minus the rating is your TN. Got it.
Correct.
This making sense, Jackson? You kind of look locked in.
Listen, I
Yes.
started reading. I started seeing the numbers. I started clicking buttons. It's coming together.
Okay. After that, you then do the same thing for your combat proficiencies. So for the dwarves, you can choose either an axe or a sword and give yourself a 2 in that, which is the same thing as you were doing for the skills above. And then you can put a 1 mark next to another weapon of your choice. And then as far as the next step, distinctive features are just kind of reminders for how your character plays. It's not necessarily, it's there if you want to use it. It's not a necessity when you're making. And then you would do the fun stuff and choose one of your names. I do like this. I don't know about everyone else, but like whenever I start to make a character, I am like I have like 10 tabs of like fantasy name generators, and I'm pulling up like all kinds of different different names and all that. This puts them right here. So you know you get to you can that inspiration, or you can use one specifically for that.
How many name generators did you need to come up with Barry?
Barry was 0. I don't even remember the process of that. I was just like, yeah, you know, he likes berries and fruit. Sure. uh, if you're just watching, Barry is my turtle druid. He's something else. All right. So now, Jackson, how are you feeling? Ashley, did you get this far in your character creation process?
Yes, and as soon as you said all those numbers, my brain immediately shut down. So I put in like the strength and heart and wits and like the endurance, hope, and I think I probably did that wrong. I don't know for sure. Um, so I didn't calculate the endurance, like the current endurance and the current hope and stuff like that.
Okay, so if you're looking at my screen right now that's being
Mhm.
shared, this is your Alpha Linden actually, which is right under.
Yes.
So what you would do is you would take so from these numbers up here,
Mhm.
you would apply that number plus 20 to, and that would give you your endurance score,
Okay.
which is the diamond underneath the rating.
Right. Hmm.
So for you, depending on what you did, you know, if let's say you did 5, you would do 20 plus 5, and that would give you 25.
Okay. So I did that for those. I just didn't get the rating for each of
Uh,
those.
so this one, so these numbers,
Mhm.
yeah. So you can just choose one of these.
Mhm.
So the rating number is just these.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why it says attributes in here. It's a little confusing. If they just said ratings, it would make it a lot easier. But
Right.
that gives you that rating number on your character sheet.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Gotcha.
Did I hear you say your endurance, hope, and parry is 20 plus your rating?
Your endurance is 20 plus your strength for this character.
The strength. Oh, okay. So
For a
I'm
hobbit, it's
different.
going to be
I
like
see.
an
I see.
18 plus your strength.
Gotcha. I was like, oh my god, I'm doing that wrong too. But no,
No.
it's based on your race. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
the
think.
inverse of here is that most of your attributes and your character comes from your culture, opposed to like D&D, where most of it comes from your classes and subclasses. This is almost everything is contained in your cultures.
Okay, I think I'm getting it now. I think I got those in. Because actually I rolled for those attributes just so I wouldn't um make a too bad of a decision for myself. Um, so I think I rolled a 3, so I got the 5, 3, 6, 1.
Okay.
So I put in those numbers.
Yeah. Perfect. And now when to calculate endurance, hope, and parry,
Mhm.
you'll add that 5 to strength, 5 to
Gotcha.
hope, 5 to wits for your total number in those categories.
Okay.
And hope in this game, I didn't touch on that, but where endurance works like HP, hope works like a resource. So you can expend hope to give
Mm.
yourself a favored roll, or to give someone else a favored roll, or give yourself an extra D6 when you're doing a skill roll. But once you drop below a certain level of hope, then other things happen. But yeah, so we're good with their cultures.
I believe so. Yes. So oh, the heroic. I didn't think I saw a heroic culture yet.
You should be
Um.
your Alpha Linden. So if you go into alchemy, the Alpha Lindens are in one of the handouts. It should be shared with you,
Okay.
and you can look there, and that'll give you access to all your information that we just had.
Okay.
So your heroic culture is your elf.
Oh, I'll just
Um,
put that then.
yeah.
Easy.
And then we'll move on to our callings. Jackson, you doing okay? Just want to check in before we go. You're muted.
I was on mute. So yeah, I've got the culture, blessing, standard of living, distinctive features. I got my strength, heart, wits, all those ratings, the hope, parry, endurance, target numbers, got my skills, got my combat proficiencies. So I think I'm all good.
All right. Perfect. Okay, next, you'll choose your class or your calling. In this case, um, you were doing scholar, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just go through scholar since you're playing it.
Cool.
And but messenger is right over here to the left too. But normally, if you're starting out this game, you would then choose this, and it would be you would. These are favored skills. Again, on the character sheet, the favored skills are going to be the boxes, the squares to the left of each skill. So if you have a favorite in travel, you would mark it there. If you have a favorite, so in this case, in this scholar, you would choose two of these craft lore riddle, and then mark those down as favored. For us tonight, we're going to choose all three, so you can mark it in the box next to those. Um,
Freebie. Oh, I already had lore.
if you already have lore, you can put in someone else. I don't care.
I may have done that wrong. I did do that wrong. So that's fine. Lore is correct.
All right. And then Ashley, same for you. You said you were messenger. If you chose two, you can just decide to put those in all three.
Oh, okay. Yes, I think I already put in for. Where did it go? Yes, I already put that in for those. I believe for those two.
Okay. And so you can just whichever one you have remaining, you can choose the last one and add it as favored.
Okay. Got
All
it.
right. And then you get additional distinctive feature. These ones have a little bit more impact on roleplay. So you could potentially use this to empower your character. Or like say, hey, I have, for instance, scholar have the feature of rhymes of lore, and then explain to me how you're going to use that to benefit your skill or your party, etc. And then after you would do this, you would fill in your shadow path. And your shadow path comes into play as you start to lose hope, or your character starts to make decisions that are against, like, so let's say you started to do like the classic murder hobo, that you would go down, you would start to devolve into your shadow path, which would then make it harder for you to do everything involved with your character. So for scholar, it's the lure secrets, and basically it says that you can use your knowledge to maliciously and manipulate people based on that information that you have acquired, or that information might manipulate you. All right, and then we did combat efficiencies and all that fun stuff. Callings. And then we go to, we're almost done. Previous experience. This is where, like, so right now your characters, or you're probably looking at the characters and thinking they're a little thin. This is where you're going to add in different, more empowered things. So you have 10 points here to allocate at any of your skills, those main attributes under the target numbers. And the way that works is if you raise it from a 0 to 1, that costs one of your 10 total points. If you raise it from a 1 to a 2, that's 2 of your 10 total. And then so on and so forth. For combat proficiencies, those are doubled. So if you wanted to raise, let's say you wanted to raise like a spear from a 0 to a 1, that would cost you 2 out of your total 10. And that 10 is shared across skills and combat proficiencies. So you can feel free to allocate those, Jackson, in any way to fill out your character. You're muted.
Yeah, I know. 10 is split between skill costs and combat proficiency costs, or I get 10 for each?
10 total for both.
I'm just gonna load up bows. I'll be unstoppable.
No. For 10 total.
Okay.
So
okay.
It's not 20. 10 is the number. Yeah, you couldn't just like max out everything.
Cool. I picked up a new skill. I leveled up my what did I do? I leveled up my healing skill, I think.
Okay.
And then yeah, I put one into an extra into spears.
Okay. Yeah, just make sure that you use that full 10. So and then we go to the starting gear. Starting gear technically is based on your some of it is based on your, we'll go to that later, but it's based on your standard of living. For here, you'll choose the weapon, every weapon or combat proficiency. So every combat proficiency you have 1 filled in for, you will choose the weapon that corresponds with that. So if you have 2 marked in axes, you'll be able to choose one of the axes. If you have 1 in spears, you'll be able to choose one of the spears. If you have 1 in bows, you'll be able to choose one of bows. If you have nothing in a combat proficiency, let's say you have a 0 in swords, you cannot carry a sword because you're not proficient in that.
Got it. Okay, I've got bows and spears.
Okay, so then you
I
would
pick
add
1 bow and 1 spear, correct?
Yep.
All right.
And so
Can
you come down here.
Yeah.
So the way this works, the spears, you have a couple different spears. You'll write that into your character sheet, and then you'll keep track of this load score. This should be in alchemy as well. For us to refer to later, because you'll forget about, it'll be easy to forget about like the injury rating because it might not come up. But basically the injury is if you score a piercing hit or some other type of special attack, like you get a crit on one of your attacks, then the target of that attack will have to beat your injury score, or else it'll take additional damage, or whatever happens to your character. So that's where injury comes in. For damage, that damage is done. So let's say you like reached out and stabbed the Balrog with your spear, and you beat your target number. It would automatically do 4 damage if you had a sword. And then I would have to roll the pit if you got a critical success on any of your skill dice, or then like a 6, then you would be able to add a various property like a piercing blow, etc. And I would have to beat I would have to then roll a 16 with my character's pool dice to beat a 16 or higher, and to avoid that injury.
Hey, let me interrupt real quick and say we just got a follow from Hodgepodge. So a little cheers to Hodgepodge.
Cheers. Thank you.
Hey, buddy. Thanks for watching.
So choose your weapons here. And then you have these notes over here that says it can either be used as 1 or 2-handed. So if you're carrying a shield, you would have to unequip both. Like in this game, you can't just like pull out the two-handed sword and still have your shield equipped. You have to go through the unequipping and all that. All right. Next, you'll go down to your armor. Your armor adds die rolls to determine, like I was explaining a little bit, to determine if you become wounded or not. So when you make a wound roll, you get a you get dice equal to I forget which skill it is. I'll have to look it up. But you'll roll a pool of dice based on your I believe it's your skill, and I believe it's your parry number. So you'll have to roll a 14 for my character. I would have to roll a 14. And I would add 4, which is my rating. So I would add 4 to that. I think I'm saying this right. Hopefully, we get fact checked. But I believe I would write. So based on that, if I have a leather, let's say I have a leather corselet, I would roll 2 dice plus my feet die, and I would have to beat a 14. I might be able to add to my wits. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's where this protection number comes in. This is the number of dice that you add to your pool to try and beat your parry score to avoid a wound. And then if you want to carry a shield, this is the number that you would add to your parry modifier. So that number would go to a 1. So for my character, let's say she was carrying just a regular shield. Her parry modifier is a 14. With the shield equipped, I could add it and make it a 16.
So real quick, how do I pick armor? And do I just what do I do?
So I believe right here under useful items based on your standard of living, for you it might be different for the Elf of Rivendell.
I have prosperous.
Yes, so if you're prosperous, then you would be able to choose 3 items,
Including war gear?
Yeah, let me I forget. Let me think. Let me go look at war gear. I think it. I want to say that you can choose anything. It's more based on load. Hold on, here we go. Before the game starts, players choose weapons, armor they choose. We're getting this on. You know what? For the sake of this, instead of having to go through all the text, we'll just say that like if you want it, you can carry it, but it's going to count towards your load score. And again, the load score is going to matter if you start to take damage. You're going to have to start dropping some of the stuff.
Okay. Can you go back to shields real quick in the armor?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna take a shield, so +2, and the load is 4. And then armor, I'm just gonna take I'll take a mail shirt, I guess. Shirt. Protection is 3D?
3 dice, yeah.
Yeah, 9. Alright, no helm. I'm too beautiful to put it under.
All right. Okay. Next we go to next we'll go to the starting rewards. Useful items. I've been playing it as there is a example list of useful items. I play it a little bit more loose. Like if it's something pops up, you can swap it in or out. So like I mean, let's say you needed a magical source of light. Um, you could use it at one time, and you could be like, yeah, I got one of the I got something from Rivendell that will light an area for a short amount of time. Um, this- so like I'm a little bit I'm very loose in those terms. As long as it's
Alright.
not like something like I get a magical like sword that cleaves things in half.
Alright, help me
Yeah,
out, Fellowship. What's like an item that a Lord of the Rings, well, a character in Lord of the Rings, a nerd in
A
Lord
pipe.
of the Rings would have? Like some sort of book or
Yeah.
scroll, maybe. That does something. What's
Or a magical pipe.
magical pipe is pretty
Yeah, you
good.
like blow out smoke and create like
Para-
illusions.
Ooh, now we're talking. I like that. I'm gonna go with that magical pipe. Pipe that can create illusions.
But only in grayscale.
Of course.
Yeah.
Works really well in a cave.
Alrighty. And then last part is the starting rewards and virtues. So we'll hop down to that. As far as your wisdom and valor on your character sheet, everyone should have those filled in with a 1.
Yes.
And then you type in your rewards when you choose them. So let's go to page 79.
Now, is it just only one reward or is it multiple rewards?
So
He's getting greedy already.
Asking for a friend.
based on the number, it's based on the number of valor and wisdom that you have. So like if you were to go through the game, as you go through and you basically not it's kind of like an experience tracker. You go through and as you level up, technically this is one of the ways you would level up your character is through valor and wisdom, and then that's when you'd be able to choose and access more of these special rewards or virtues.
Hey, real quick, cheers to Bob Norris for following, and apparently KP for giving out 2 tier 1 subs at this point now. One to Hodge and one
All
to
right.
Holly, I believe, right?
All right.
Cheers. All right. Okay. So Jackson, for your character, you would choose one of these options from the rewards list.
I choose keen. That
You
sounds
chose
like an
keen
elf
weapon.
thing.
Okay. Yeah. So again, for your characters, this should be in alchemy. So like if when combat comes, we'll go through this and it'll be there. And you'll have to reference this. But again, you'll gain a piercing blow if you score a 9 or higher on the feat die, which is pretty strong. And then you can choose from the virtues for each class. So at the beginning of this, these are just virtues that any person can access, and there are cultural virtues. I believe KP. I said you could choose 2 virtues.
2 is correct.
Like, we're playing favorites now? What's going on?
No, I just wanted to make sure that when KP and I did this, that I am not playing favorites, and that everyone is getting the same things that he got.
Garrett, we don't play favorites. I've already won the game.
So everyone can add 2 virtues from these lists. Again, these virtues here are accessible to any culture, and then there are specific ones for each culture that you can access.
Yeah, let me see those elven
Oh.
ones.
Real quick, we just got a $15 donation from Bob Norris to Child's Play. So big old
Hey.
cheers
Hey.
for your donation to giving kids games.
Thanks, man. And I believe Bob Norris is also one of our Grand Crusaders.
Oh, is he really? I knew
Ah.
Katie was, and I didn't remember who the others were.
Jackson, if you want to see the Rivendell elf virtues, you'll have to pull them up in the alchemy.
Oh, they're in alchemy.
Yeah. I can find that.
Oh, elf virtues, got it. Okay. I will do. Oh boy. I will do Might of the Firstborn. That one sounds the most straightforward. Can spin Hope. Oh wait. I can spin Hope to cancel Hate or Resolve. Hell yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. All right. And then we are going to do a brief combat overview. So we'll do this quick, and then we'll come back and we'll start up. It's gonna. I'll leave this up. It's also in handouts in alchemy. So we'll just be able to go through this. Okay. So the way combat works is that you all will on the map, you will set yourselves up, and during any combat encounter, there's a thing called opening volleys. And in some cases, there are surprise attacks or other instances where you can get like a free opening volley before the adversaries can respond. But for the basics, you'll get an opening volley. That means that any character or adversary can exchange arrow fire for that very first round. So if you have a bow equipped or you have a spear, anything like that that can be thrown, this is when you would do that. Not you can do it at other times based on the stance you choose, but to start off, this is how it starts every single time. So let's say that you are fighting a couple like an orcish, and there were some archers that you all would automatically go first. Player characters go first. Everyone with a bow or spear chucks it. The damage, etc., is resolved. Then everybody on the adversarial side chucks their spears, shoots their arrows, and the damage and injuries are all resolved. The second round will then be where you do close quarters, or the second part of combat is basically where you pick a stance. So stances allow you to choose like your level of engagement. So a forward stance means you're at the you basically will like get 1-to-1 like old school medieval battle. You're gonna march straight up to the other guy and you're gonna attack that person. If there are one player character can only attack one adversary if there are enough. So like you all couldn't say, let's say you're fighting, unless it was a Balrog and they're just one. Let's say you're fighting a band of orcs, right? And you saw that one orc in specific looked more powerful. You all couldn't just go surround and team up and fight that one specific orc. You all have to choose one target. And a forward stance allows you to gain it's kind of like a reckless attack in D&D. It allows you to gain a 1d6 on all your combat attacks, but if they are when they respond and attack you, they gain a d6 on their attacks. So it's kind of more of an aggressive stance. An open stance is one where there's no disadvantage applied. So it's just straight rolls, or no advantage or disadvantage. Defensive stance is where you're fighting on the back foot and you're trying to embrace for an attack. So anybody attacking you while you're in a defensive stance would lose a die. And additionally, you would lose a die when you attack. And then the last stance is the rearward stance. This stance makes it that like you can't attack anybody who's engaged in close combat. Basically, if you're firing arrows into it, people shoot arrows at other arrows. That's it. You can't shoot at anybody engaged in a close combat attack. And that works for both sides, heroes and villains. So does that make sense?
More world than I thought it was.
What's that?
I said it's a more honorable world than I thought it was.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's a little bit easier in my opinion. But yeah. So, what can happen though is that if heroes were, let's say you're fighting the orcs and you're able to kill some of the orcs, once that is resolved, you can then choose an additional target, and that's when more than one hero could attack more than one enemy. But if there are enough enemies for enough player heroes, then you all are one by one attacking each other.
So just to clarify here, during the opening volley, where we're all doing our range shots at each other and whatever, you can shoot whoever, right? But then if I, as an archer, choose the back line, I can only shoot other archers unless there are no archers left.
So the way the opening volleys work is that only people engaged in opening volleys can attack other people engaged in opening volleys.
Gotcha. So if we do an opening volley and the other guys are just all straight combat fighters and don't have any range stuff, there's no opening volley thing, or do we get to go?
I don't know. Let me double check that real quick.
Because if so, then it's just free shots in and I'm in, you know. But then in the next round of combat, if I have a bow and I step to the back,
no, you can target anybody.
I can target anybody. Okay, because I could have sworn you had just said that you need to shoot archers.
No, so for opening volleys, you can target any character.
Right, but then the combat round after that.
For the combat round after that, you would have to choose a rearward stance, and then you could only attack another rearward
gotcha.
Adversary.
So even though I could be a great bowman, unless there's no rearward people, then I can attack closer.
I believe you would then have to go into
a different stance and go just straight combat.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because it says that you can only attack. Furthermore, for each player in rearward, there must be two other adventurers fighting in close combat stances. Players are allowed to assume their stance only until the range isn't more than twice the adventurers. Yeah. So it says you can only target attackers using similar weapons. Yeah. So if you wanted to go and we can play it by ear. I might be a little loose on this ruling, but technically you could only attack another character in your range using a ranged weapon. So yeah. And I mean that's really it. Like as far as actions and all that stuff, you would have to when you go to make an attack, all the attacks are based on your strength modifiers, so you have to roll against your strength target number, and you have to roll a number equal to the difficulty attacks made by adversaries. So when I roll, I have to attack your parry score. So when you roll, you use your strength TN. And then if I have a parry rating, I would just add to that. So let's say you're fighting an orc and it has a parry rating of 2 and your strength is a 12, then that target number would then turn into a 14 for that success, for that hit to be a success. For me, I would just have to beat your target, your parry score, with my attacks. And then anytime you take hit, damage automatically happens, and that number is reduced, is taken away from your endurance. So if I slash you with the sword, unless there's other stuff that's going on, it does 3 damage automatically if it hits. So you'd have to subtract that 3 from your endurance immediately. And there are special damage types, and we can go into that a little bit more when it comes up. But you can do a couple different things. But I think for the sake of this, we'll keep it pretty simple and just worry mostly about like heavy blows or piercing blows. But yeah, is there any questions regarding that? We good?
It'll probably make the most sense once we get into it.
Yeah, it'll be easier when we start to play, but you know, that's the nuts and bolts of it. All right. Everybody feel good? Give me a yay.
Yay!
Yeah.
All right. How's that? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
It was like 45 degrees.
All right. So this will go ahead and conclude our session 0, and we're gonna take a quick break, go refill, use the bathroom, all that fun stuff, and then we will be back on very shortly, where we will jump straight into the game. So if you're here, hang out. You do the same. Take your break. Come back, and join us in a few moments. And we'll see you then. It will be time to go. So, thank you.